Brian Baldinger, Morning Roast, earlier today. It was really, really good. Here's part of what he said, in fact, about Jordan Love.
Like, this has got to be, I think, their best defensive effort of the season, this game, because this offense is very diverse. The quarterback is elite. He doesn't miss throws, and he doesn't make mistakes right now. They have to play exceedingly fast where they just refuse to be blocked. They just, in both pass protection and in the run game. You just have to, have a mindset that you're going to play so fast and see things so quickly that you're not going to be blocked.
Yeah, this feels like a very big Fred Warner game to me because he, so often, you watch Niner games, and he looks like the smartest player on the field. He knows where to be, knows for the ball, all of that stuff. You've heard other quarterbacks say that's the best linebacker in football. That's the guy that's really, really difficult.
Unanimous All-Pro.
Yeah, so this feels like his kind of game because he's going up against young players. Jordan Love has actually been around for a few years, but this is a young player who, pardon my you-know-what, this is going to be a different environment. I know Dallas, Dallas, great, Jerry's World, that's nice. The Niners have gone in there and won at will. So this environment being outdoors at night, up against the 1 seed, talent all over the place, pass rushers coming at you everywhere, a real defense. I'm not saying that he's not going to move the ball up and down the field. Maybe he will. Maybe he's just got upset written all over him. He looks, if you look at him last weekend, he looks terrifying to go against. But not all the time, and I would hope that the 49ers, in addition to their abilities physically, are in a position to outsmart the Packers a little bit because they're more experienced at everything that's going to happen this weekend. They've got more people. They've got more experience. They've got home field. That's why I can look at Jordan Love and go, dude, he looks fantastic of late. And no, you still have no excuse. You still absolutely should win this football game.
Absolutely. I mean, your defense is better than their offense, and your offense is better than their defense. And their offense has looked great, but still, you would side with the Niners defense, a top 2 or top 3 defense all year long. And of remaining defenses, they're either number 1 or number 2 of the 8 remaining teams in football. So you've got a nasty defense. You're at home, and you're coming off a week of rest. And in some cases, 2 weeks of rest because there were some of those players like Ayuk and Debo, they played about a quarter against the Rams, and then they were in hoodies by halftime, and they were chilling. So you had everything go your way in terms of rest, getting guys healthy. Now you're at home. And even if the elements are ugly, well, that might hurt your offense, but it shouldn't hurt your defense. And your defense is in a spot where you should be able to stop the run as you have all year. And then you force Green Bay into being one-dimensional. And Jordan Love has been terrific, and they have a great young group of tight ends and receivers, but you've got the nastiest pass rush remaining in football. That should be a recipe for you to go out there and blow Green Bay off the field.
You would think. However, I know what this is going to sound like, and spoiler alert, it's going to sound like this again tomorrow and on Thursday and Friday as well. There is no reason not to sound like this. It's not about peacocking. It's not about anything other than the 49ers have earned this from those of us in their fan base. We expect them to win. They're the best football team in the NFL. Sports means you have to go out there and play a game. And balls bounce funny sometimes, and other people have heroic performances. I'm not guaranteeing the 49ers a Super Bowl, and that's why I refrain from using things like Super Bowl or bust. I have no idea what the story is going to be with how this thing plays out. The way I will say it, which is a little bit different, is chances don't come any better than this. They just don't. You've got the 1 seed, you've got home field. The teams you were really scared about that played at a high level all year long in the NFC are gone. They're gone. They're all gone. The Cowboys are gone. The Eagles are gone. The Rams are gone. It is not bluster to say that chances don't come any better than this. You will be a massive favorite every time you take the field, no matter what, and that includes Vegas too. You will be north of a field goal favorite even in that game, if you end up taking on the Baltimore Ravens or the Buffalo Bills. It is all absolutely laid out for you. Chances don't come any better than this. All right. Speaking of chances, that means the window is now open. So if you want to win a framed, autographed Christian McCaffrey jersey, which I'm going to hold up again for you here in just a second if you're on the Twitch or the YouTube audience, stay locked in right now because we are going to give the keyword out very soon, and then all you're going to need to do is text it in. Text it into 20357. So mark that number down, 20357. When we give you the keyword, you text it in, save that into your phone so you're ready to go. The keyword is coming shortly. Text it into 20357, and you are immediately qualified to win this beautiful piece that we're about to show you. However, I'll also add, the number one question is always, can we qualify again and again and again? Yes, you can. So you can qualify every day on this show between 4:30 and 5:30, every day on the roast, 7:30 to 8:30, every day with Steiny and Goo from 12:30 to 1:30.
20357 is the number. So when I hear the keyword, I just text that keyword to 20357, and I'm entered. And once I'm entered, then I get into the pool of people, and we will select one winner at random to win what Mark is holding up for the YouTube audience, and I'll walk you through it. For those of you just listening, it's Christian McCaffrey. It's a jersey, and it's the red jersey with the 3 stripes, the white stripes on the sleeves, the white number with the black border around it, and it's signed. It is signed by CMC himself, and there are a couple of the pictures on there that I like. Not just a jersey. It's a jersey with a couple of pictures, and it's got that plastic wrap around the frame.
They're action
shots. It has never been touched or fettered by another human being. Once it got put in that frame, it was hermetically sealed. That thing is gorgeous, and someone, you maybe, dear listener, are going to be the one to win that.
There's a little spot where the plastic has got a hole in it at the top. I put my finger on it, so sorry about that.
Yeah, we can put some Scotch tape on that. We can tape right over that.
Yeah.
The more I'm thinking about this game, and maybe it's just because you held up that jersey. You said it's a Fred Warner game. I think it's a Christian McCaffrey game.
Yeah, I hear
and McCaffrey, he actually did get 2 weeks off. He was nursing the calf, and now he's going to be a full go. And I look at Green Bay defensively, and they are 28th in the regular season against the run. So I think about a Kyle Shanahan game plan, which is always run the ball 30 or more times. When they run it 30 or more times, they win about 85% of the games. Sloppy track, I think you go out there and you try to impose your will. Shanahan likes a 35-25 split on the time of possession. McCaffrey's going to be as fresh as he's been in weeks. I think that this is a game where it's McCaffrey left, McCaffrey right, and you just try to keep the ball away from Jordan Love on offense.
I mean, it should be. I mean, that's in a way that's kind of always the game plan. Like one thing, it's a chain link fence, and most of the time, Christian McCaffrey is able to run downhill, and when he does, the 49ers are almost impossible to stop because you can keep feeding him, and then the play action becomes absurd because you can do that, and then the next thing you know, Brock Purdy just rolls a couple steps to the right, and he's like, okay, McCaffrey's in the flat, Kittle's in the middle, Ayuk's running down the field, Debo's a safety valve or wherever he might be. Juwan Jennings might be running around out there, but only if it's third down, of course. So, I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches as far as the choices that he has. And so that's kind of the way I don't even just see this game. I see the playoffs this way. There's just a few things that the 49ers need to do in order to win the Super Bowl. Chiefly among them, for me, is to get good production from their offensive line. If Brock Purdy has time, if they're able to run cleanly off of Trent Williams for 3 football games with health, if those things happen, I just think it becomes highly unlikely that they'd lose. They can lose. It's a game, and the other team, the balls could bounce their way, or who knows what. Maybe they get something running downhill against the 49er defense. But if the 49ers get good play from their offensive line. And Purdy has time to sort of let the game plan develop. I find it not far-fetched, but pretty unlikely that the 49ers would not win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the turnover is always the big thing in the game. And if they use the blueprint of the last time these two teams played in the playoffs at Levi Stadium, I think that, all you Brock Purdy stands you'll be up in arms.
Well, they won't do that.
Jimmy Garoppolo was 6 of 8 in that game, not on that drive.
Right. And
not in that quarter.
Brock's not Jimmy. And let's not use those two names in the same sentence ever again.
We can in terms of this playoff matchup. And that was a game where you didn't have to throw it. And you might have a similar situation here where, Mostert went for 220 on 29 carries. You ran it 42 times. I don't think that game was about we don't trust Jimmy. It was we don't have to have Jimmy throw it. You don't need to throw it.
No. Sure. Why throw it?
That's the way that thing went.
Here, let me share. You remember earlier I referenced the conversation I recently had with the gentleman who is employed by the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
This is important to say. He said something to me that I'm like, oh, that's going to stick with me now. That's going to stick with me. Because Brock Purdy has been called a system quarterback. He's been called a game manager. And he's also been called, and maybe this is the same as calling him a system quarterback, but he's also been called a product of the system. Sometimes I translate that to mean product of the roster. He's a product of everything around him. Well, we got to talking about Brock and the now and the future and everything. And this gentleman who has been with the 49ers for some time, he says to me, do you know what it is about Brock? Like, sure, we all don't know where this story is going, but what this team has now, we've always had who we thought was the best offensive mind, the best play caller in the NFL. And what we have now is a quarterback who has fully unlocked that coach. So sometimes you got to look at the mirror from the other side. So when people say that Brock Purdy is a product of Kyle Shanahan, I do think that the opposite is true as well, which is that this year's Kyle Shanahan is in some way a product of Brock Purdy. The idea that the quarterback has unlocked the play caller, not just the other way around. The idea that everything that's in his bag of tricks is now available because of the quarterback he has.
And you see it in the way they go about running their offense. With the throws that Brock Purdy makes, completes or incompletes, the throws that he attempts are throws that they never would have let Jimmy Garoppolo even attempt. And they didn't throw the ball down the field when Jimmy was here. And we talked about it at the start of this year about the deep ball. Can Brock Purdy throw the deep ball? Well, we haven't seen it yet. And is it because Brock can't do it, or is it because Kyle won't let him? Well, now we've seen him throw the deep ball. And we talked about all the stats and the metrics and how he leads football in yards per attempt. And that's not only because of the yak yards, because he didn't even have the most yak yards in terms of his receivers getting the catch and then running after the catch. So all of the debunking of the dink and dunk accusations that Brock Purdy had to face, all of that is gone. And it's because of what you were talking about and your friend with the Niners who makes an astute point about the mutual unlocking. Because, yes, Brock Purdy is a product of being on a good team and a good system, but the offense now has opened up with Brock Purdy to levels we haven't seen before.
Yeah, but I get where everyone is. I really do. There's some nervousness that's just automatic. It's automatic. It has to be there. You have to accept that nervousness. This is something I love to kind of talk to, young people in our business about or whatever. Like, don't be afraid of the idea of nervousness. Nervousness means you care.
Means you're alive.
That's right. It's if you don't have the nervousness, then you're sort of indifferent. It's kind of like that thing we were talking about last week about the Warriors getting booed. I'd much rather get booed than have people turn around and walk out.
Good point.
Booing is emotional. Walking out is indifferent. So, welcome that nervousness in because it's warranted. It's warranted. We've been disappointed a bunch of times in a row now. Even going all the way back to playing the Super Bowl against the Ravens with Kaepernick. The Niners have been so close so often for so long now, and they've not been able to break through. And we carry those scars with us. And so to finally get the analysis and answer in terms of who's coming to town for their first playoff game and have it be a red-hot quarterback is scary. Nobody thought it was going to be the Packers.
Right.
We were talking about all the other options, Eagles, Bucks, and Rams. Nobody thought the Cowboys were going to go out there and do that.
You thought it would be the Bucks. You thought the NFC would be them holding serve. I thought it would be the Rams. I thought the Rams were going to beat Detroit. And that Cowboy game was probably the only one you got wrong in terms of who actually won the game. And it was a shock. I thought Cleveland was going to beat Houston. I was wrong. I thought the Rams would beat Detroit. I had that wrong. I thought the Eagles would beat Tampa Bay. And that's because that was an ostrich take. Yeah. My head was stuck in the sand on that one. But to see what Green Bay did to Dallas, to watch them dismantle the Cowboys and completely dominate them from the opener, that is scary. But it's okay as a fan to feel those nerves. I don't think that the 49ers are going to be that nervous. There'll be anticipation.
No, they'll be confident.
There'll be excitement,
yes,
but
be incredibly
their
confident.
confidence is going to outweigh any possible nerves that they have.
Well, look, the Packers are not going to just run roughshod through the NFC suddenly and go to the Super Bowl. Like a lot of this is a product of what we watched over the weekend, and so I get it. But there's very little history or even rational thought to the idea that this is now just suddenly who Green Bay is, and they're just going to bust 40 on everybody. They're unstoppable. Jordan Love is the best thing since sliced bread. Packers are going to win it all. That's not the way this is going to go.